And over large numbers, those sort of random number generators that produce ones and zeros would eventually even out to 50-50 over large numbers. But there have been experiments done that human cognition can actually affect those outcomes. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about that and how that
Yes.
worked and how
Yes.
fascinating this is?
Dean Radin writes about these in his books beautifully, and also speaks in his interviews beautifully. And I encourage everybody to hear it from the first person. The idea there is that we present an individual with a line where we design to say zeros or ones. So the person would be looking, let's say, at the picture, and in the background, we will be running a random number generator. And we need to, for the person, in order to run our sets to make sure that they're affecting the data in the same way, we will be telling them, think high, meaning ones, or think low, thinking zero. So they will have numbers, and I will see zeros and I would think low, and I will see one, I'll think high, 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 and then zero would come up and say low, low. And people have a different way of visualizing. This is like telepathy. Some people will say the word, and some people would literally might even have movement, in their face and their body. But you will have this understanding that what that means. Somebody might visualize going up the mountain, somebody down the stairs, somebody might be pointing an arrow, or it's interesting, what will the person actually do in relation to a trigger? So where does the effect happen? Is it happening in the computer, or is it happening with the intention with the person? So the assumption is that there's a person with an intention that has an effect. But how do we have an effect? How does our intention or perception or that communication, it's not necessarily a word. Is it a concept? Are we like a remote viewer, imagining sweating going up and cooling running down the hill? I don't know. But so that's what that's the notion. And that person who is as part of the experiment has an effect on what the random number generates at the time. And so once that's done in current time, Dean and his team have looked into can we have also effect on the random number generator in the past or the future? And also, can we predict the what will happen, which is another type of experiment. It's not with a random number generator, but the pictures would be generated using a random number generation. So first is about that random number generator. So the idea would be to record the data run by the random number generator the time before, and during the experiment you run a set thinking that we're affecting what we recorded yesterday, in terms of random number generator.
And those results are kept secret until after you've done the experiment, correct?
Yes, they
so
do
you
this.
run the random number generator, you have those results,
Nobody
and then
knows
do the
what
experiment at a later time, and you see, did that person actually affect it in the past? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So, and they take precautions in terms of that there is blindness to the experiment being run. So the person who is running the experiment, they either maybe they don't know that they even run the numbers when they run the numbers, so that there are many combinations that they are trying to be as clear as non-biased to running the experiment, and the people don't know what the setup is, so it is as clean as possible, because it is you could say it's an observer effect, another way of looking at it, which is very interesting. So our attention, I love that, has an effect. So we are paying attention and something changes across time, not just right now. We're affecting now just by looking and thinking. So can you imagine the power of what we're capable of? Should we be able to be clear in our thinking? And that's, I think, the most difficult thing, not to run away with our thoughts. And I think once we master that, and this children and telepathy tape are inviting us to do that, you know, how Kai Deacons now, the phrase that they've put on the website is to say, assume competence.